Cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
FF episode 2467, 2467. Hello, it's Mike Matthews. I have not done a podcast in so many
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, so many days. I think it was Sunday. Now it's Thursday. It's supposed to be a daily podcast. Mike Matthews, what the hey? You should be doing this daily. What's wrong with you? What's happening in your life? I'll tell you soon. Just make me your wife. Wait a minute. That part of the song, I don't know if that was verified.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Before I actually sang it, but oops. No, the thing is that I got busy.
Mike's
I took some days off.
Daily
I decided
Podcast
that this podcast wasn't worth doing.
Yeah!
So I stopped doing it. Because you never, ever change my mind when I come down to this whole woe is me thing. You never, ever say, Mike, you do a good job with your podcast. No, nothing. Because you don't exist, as I've said before. If a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody around to see it fall down and make noise, does anyone hear it? No, it does not. That's my take on things. You might differ. But if that's the way it is, then why am I doing a podcast? I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. Cafe anyway. Welcome somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Located somewhere in Podcastro Valley. I took a nice walk today on my day off. I did something you probably should not do on your day off, and I watched a lot of YouTube. And I went down that YouTube rabbit hole and watched I watch a lot of travel videos, hoping that it will inspire me, when all it does is make me tired. Because I go, oh, they go all the way over there to that country and they need to do this, and this, and this, and oh, what's the point? What's the use? I'll just watch them going there, and then I'll think that I went there, but virtually I did not.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I mean, I guess virtually I went there, but I did not. But I did go somewhere today, and that was in Podcastro Valley. See that picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Where did he go? Where was he? Where had Mike went? I don't know, some kind of verb conjugation there, but all the nice people here at Cafe anyway. I watched the YouTube channel's Island Hopper, where this guy's like, hey, what's up, everybody? Here we go. I'm in Prague. Let's walk around. And the late, great Basil the Boxer, who never went to Prague. But he went to the area that you see in the podcast picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Didn't you, Basil? And we had fun. That's right, we had a lot of fun there. Late, great Basil the Boxer. Do I want to get a dog? Yes, this is not the right moment. Like I said, the fall. Hopefully in the fall. Sometimes it's tough to get inspired, to get moving. Do you know what helps inspire you? Friends. The good friends, the positive friends in your life. I had dinner with a friend of mine last night, Kevin, who once did a couple times actually did Addendum with Kevin on the show. He told some wonderful stories. He works at a brewery, and there are sometimes people that show up that are a bit odd, like someone from the unhoused world who showed up and demanded to have an application that he could fill out, which in California, if they demand it, you have to give it to them. So he fills out he didn't even fill out an application. I think he wrote down his resume on a napkin because he didn't bring a resume with him because he's unhoused. And then he demanded a beer. Then he demanded samples because he couldn't get the beer. So he demanded samples. And then he proclaimed that I just want some respect. To which, as he was yelling very loudly and had done a bit of vandalizing, they called the police. And the police said, well, does the unhoused person have a weapon? No. He has a backpack. Which they should have, at this point, the police department said, nope, we'll get there when we get there. So when the question is asked, does the unhoused person have a weapon? The answer is there's a bomb in the backpack. Even if it's not true, hopefully it's not true, but if it's not true, to get them over there. So the police finally show up, and there's a bit of commotion. One of the policemen thinks my friend is the unhoused person. That's wrong. So what happens? In the end, the unhoused person is taken away and arrested. But my friend tells the story 20 times better. And if you ever meet Kevin, maybe next time he's on the show, he will be telling the story firsthand. But there I am, secondhand, telling it to you. I hope you enjoyed it. But he inspired me. He inspired me because he goes out there and he goes riding his bike. He goes up into the hills and rides his bikes, which I would never do because I would never, ever, ever ride a bike on any of the trails in Podcastro Valley because it's dangerous. I'd rather walk. I'm more of a walking type person, but Kevin's more like, I'll just do woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. He'll do the goofy yell as he flies down the hill. But he inspired me. And here's other inspirational quotes that I took from the latest issue of the Costco Connection. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. What? Okay. You miss 100% of the... I guess you do. I guess you do. I guess it's in life. If you don't take a shot, nothing's gonna happen. If you don't go outside that door, turn off the YouTube watching the travel videos and go out there and do some traveling yourself, albeit you're educated now because you've been watching those YouTube videos, you know what's up in certain parts of the country like Budapest and to Prague and whatever else place they went to. You know what to do and what not to do. But you won't know for sure until you get out there. That's right, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Anyway.
The last place on earth. I sound like a Howard Jones song. No one is to blame. A lot of his songs were inspirational. None of the ones that were hits, but the ones, some of the stuff on his album. Don't let me throw off your mental chains, woo-hoo-hoo. Or the one, things can only get better. Whoa, whoa. Or, with a song. I try to live my life in one day. Don't go straight your heart away. Pretend to only so much you can do. I'm not gonna live my life in one day. Don't go throw your world away. That was an interesting song. Living your life in one. Don't try to live your life in one day. It was a quasi hit. I think it hit the top 20 right after the song Things Can Only Get Better. And it's true. I mean, it's sort of the antithesis to Carpe Diem, to try and do it all in one day. But you can't. I think there's another line in there. Old man said to me, don't take your life so seriously. Something, drink the wine and have some fun. And I don't know. Anyway, it's a positive song. Be around positive people is my point. You know, here's the thing. Some people in your life are checked out. They are checked out. They don't care anymore. Could be people that you know in your everyday life. Maybe people that you know at work. But they're checked out. They can't contribute anything to you. You know, you can try and help them as much as you can. But in the end, they're the vortex that's going to suck you down. You got to be careful. They're the black hole. They're the bagel. The bagel black hole that's going to take you. That's from Everything Everywhere All at Once. So be careful. Be careful of those type of people. Those negatives. Those Rachel Dretches. What was the character Rachel Dretch played on Saturday Night Live? Debbie Downers. Careful of them. Your life is too short. You can't live your life in one day, but it is almost as long as a day. Sometimes it seems that life is so short. So the point is, careful of them, because some people are checked out and they're not going to contribute anything at all to anything. And yeah, you can feel sorry for them. You can tell them, you know what, you're checked out. That's not the way to live life. You're not helping it. Why should I help anybody? Life sucks. Well, God helps those who help themselves. I can only help you so far. I'm not saying that I'm God, but I can only help you as a friend. I can only help you so much. Anyone on this planet can only help you so much. You got to do the rest. You've got to do the rest. The other thing I wanted to talk about, as we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, is how horrible the Amazon Prime television show Paper Girls is. Do not watch Paper Girls unless you are a Gen Zer who's never watched anything before in your life, have no taste in anything whatsoever. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. Now, I know this may appeal to young adults somewhere who have never had any interest in good dialogue at all, any good writing. Writing to them is so superfluous. It's tertiary, doesn't mean anything. This is such an awful show. The premise is brilliant. I love the premise. 4 12-year-old girls, and I'll tell you, watching that, I had a sudden, and I have not done this in a long time, I had a total flashback to when I was 12, eons ago. I had completely forgotten the strife and the crazy angst that you go through day to day, as I did in the 80s. Was it the 80s? Yeah, early 80s. For these 12-year-old girls in this story, it's the late 80s. And yes, it seems like any show now on a streaming network that deals with the supernatural and teens or tweens is going to be, the setting's going to be in the 80s. For some reason, it all has to take place in the 80s. Because, oh wait, the people watching that are interested, they're now grown-up people that were those kids in the 80s. I guess it's supposed to appeal to them, because those are the people dumb enough to pay the high prices that Netflix wants you to pay to keep subscribing to them. At any rate, Cafe Anyway, there's such great foundation to this Paper Girls. You've even got Brad Pitt as one of the producers of the show. There's actually probably that's the issue, is there's too many producers of this show and it got diluted. But the dialogue is horrible. And the characters make such stupid choices. Even for 12-year-olds, make stupid choices. And there's some good acting here and there. But, and it has to do with time travel. And they try to dumb it down. And the very end, the last scene, you're like, why did I just spend all this time watching the 10 episodes? What was I thinking? But if you sign on to Amazon Prime, as soon as you sign into your account, they are pushing that show on you. And it's terrible. And my lovely lady friend and I have not stopped complaining about how horrible that show is. It is so viscerally intense for us how much we hate that show. Ugh. Do not watch it. If you like it, I would love to hear from you. 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast tries to be, although I got interrupted the past 4 days.
Call now. 336MM Daily.
Ugh. Just terrible. You know what's not terrible, though? Taking 2 days off. I took 2 days off from work. This after basically 2 months... more than 2 months of not having a single day off. Even when I was off from work, I still had work calling me, people calling me from work. I never had a moment to completely just disconnect completely. And that means turning off the phone, turning off the emails, turning off everything that connects you to work. And I've done it successfully. And the first day, it has to be 2 days, because the first day you're still coming down. The second day, right about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it hits you how important it is to completely disconnect. Because you start feeling the healing process, the recharging process. And that only helps work. That only helps your job, because now you're coming back a genius, where before you were depleted and you had no energy left in your cells, in your brain cells, in your battery cells, nothing left. Now you're coming back fully charged, and you're going to come back completely like a super soldier to help and save the day at your workplace. But it took them over 2.5, not 2.5 months, but over 2 months to get to the point where they were like, okay, Mike, you can take off time. You can take 2 days. So thank goodness for that. Because then Mike doesn't get checked out. Because when Mike's checked out, then this all goes batty. One more inspirational quote from Costco Connection. Just keep swimming, Dory and Finding Nemo. Okay, how about... here's a Bible verse for you. John 15, verse 17. This is my command. Love each other. Huh. Can't argue with that. And find one more. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu. Very good. And that is so true. That is so true. Every massive journey you take, you got to get the heck out. You've got to step out. You've got to turn off the YouTube. Turn off the Netflix and the awful Amazon Prime. Here's the worst thing about Amazon Prime, and then you go out and you start the journey, is they don't let you rate what you just... I have wanted so badly to rate that horrible show, give my opinion, but they would not let me. So I had to do it on the podcast, and I thank you for indulging me. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega, and I travel through time all the time. Ooh. You know, I don't really believe in time travel. I mean, the fact that time is a unit of measurement that is absolute. It is. It's not like distance, where I can go from the 0 all the way to 5 miles and then back to 0 again. You know, it's time. You can't go back to 0 in time. Although there is the theory that time is unfolding all around us all at once. In fact, that was one of the things they talked about in Paper Girls. Gosh, the premise was so good, and it just executed horribly. The way people travel through time is through this thing called it's called the folding. And when the folding happens, then you can jump through the fold, which they didn't really explain that either. But anyway, yes. Some people believe time is happening all around us all at once, and you can travel through different dimensions, but that's in my practical mindset. Oh, and by the way, practically speaking, here's something that's very impractical for a guy that works in radio. My radio stopped working yesterday in my car. Just stopped working. So guess who's going to be listening to a lot more podcasts now? And this is Mike's Daily Podcast. So do you like listening to it, Madame Rootabega? Yes. Do you like traveling through time? Yes. Did you like Paper Girls? No. Good. Me neither. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the banking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, that was fascinating. You talking all about inspirational stuff and about turning off the YouTube videos and all that stuff there.
Yeah, all that stuff there. Do you know that? Thanks, guys. Yes. Well, it was a pleasure bringing this podcast to you. If you would like to tell me what you think about anything we covered today, you can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily. As in what this podcast is. Hey, I'd like to say really quickly out to all the restaurants out there. in Podcastro Valley and around the East Bay and around the world. The COVID is not done. The coronavirus is not done. And people are still getting sick. And so far this year, I've known over 10 people that have gotten sick. So here, do us all a favor. Do something you should have done long ago. My late mother would have told you this from the start. You've got to have outside patios. Outside patios. Like we're outside now. You have to put some chairs and tables outside. It's as easy as pie to do. And serve pie while you're at it, because that's delicious. So do that delicious thing. Serve out people outside so we don't get the COVID. And then we have the beautiful... and of course, if you do have a patio, make it available for dogs. That's absolutely part of the whole plan. Mike's plan. And please follow this Mike's Daily Podcast plan. And if you're a restaurant, I don't care if you've got only 5 feet of the sidewalk out in front of your place. Put chairs out there, put tables. Oh, but Mike, the unhoused come over and sit down. I'm sorry, I don't have a solution to that. But you got to have some chairs outside so we can sit there and enjoy a COVID-free world as much as we can. The beautiful breeze will blow that COVID away, and we can sit there with our wonderful dogs and enjoy a beautiful patio. My mom loved sitting outside and people watching. So do it. Do it for Mom. Please do it. Just restaurants. That's all I'm asking. Okay, with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!